Sherrone Moore has just been fired as Michigan's head coach after an investigation has been led into him having an inappropriate relationship with a staffer from Michigan. Absolute crazy news coming from the sign stealing allegation thing that happened a couple years ago, and then him stepping in as head coach as Harbaugh went on to the NFL. Just a bunch of crazy stuff that's happened at Michigan, including this scenario over the last few years.
Yeah, wow. I mean, you go from winning a national championship a couple years back, then you have Harbaugh leaving early last year amid the scandal going on with the sign stealing situation. Um, Michigan struggles last year. In this season, they actually played really well, going nine
Yeah.
and three. But just man, it's surprising to me that a coach with a program in the situation that they're in, amid the scandals that they're in, that are still being investigated, that someone would risk something like what's being alleged. Obviously, you have to be careful, like you said, with an investigation going on. I don't want to, put out any false information, but allegedly had a relationship with inappropriate relationship with a staffer. Why would you put yourself in a situation like that with all the other scandals that you have going on, already suspended for 2 games, already having to probably forfeit wins, and definitely had to have a bowl ban for the year? I just think that it's incredibly silly to put yourself in a position like that with everything you got going on.
Yeah, no doubt. And like you said, Michigan had a great year this year. They went 9-3. Their two of their losses were to two teams that are in the college football playoffs, with it being Oklahoma and Ohio State. I don't remember their other loss. Let's see here. It was to USC. But still, USC is a good team. They had a great year this year, and Moore went 18-8, I believe, over the 2 years, or 17-8, one of those two. He had a great season. Regular season record was 16-8, so I think he went 17-8 with the bowl win against LSU or against Alabama last year, and then obviously beat Ohio State in the big game last year as well. Obviously didn't beat them this year, but he had a good tenure winning games. But it's just, yeah, it's a crazy thing to for him to put himself in a position with all the NIL money. I mean, they just paid their quarterback what, $8 million or whatever. It's a crazy thing, and like we don't want to jump the gun on anything of allegations or whatnot, but just from what has come out now, it's a crazy story.
Yeah, and it sounds like from what you had said, the interim coach is going to be, and his name is slipping my mind, but the guy who started the year off, that actually had him rolling. I believe it was the first 2 or 3 games of the season, and I believe he went undefeated. No, he lost to
Yeah.
Oklahoma first game, and then they went on to win two after that. But it's crazy situation. Obviously, you with the coaching search that we've had this year, you don't want to be amid another coaching search. But if I know anything about Michigan, they're going to be able to make it right very very quickly. Now, granted, it sounds like they're gonna keep the coach in place. Were you able to get his name real
Yeah,
quick?
it's the offense coordinator Biff Poggi.
Okay. So surely they'll be able to make do with that moving forward. And I'd be interested to see if they're going to stick with him or if they're going to, kind of shop around. I feel like they do have options if they decide that's the direction that they want to go. They could probably pull. Michigan is a premier job in college football. They could pull a coach from several other universities if that's what they decided they wanted to do. So man, it's just terrible. It's just terrible. That's heartbreaking for the athletes who
Yeah.
committed to play for him. You just had a bunch of high school athletes sign, and I think because of what is happening, they're going to be able to back out of that commitment. And what a difficult time it's going to be for that football program trying to work through yet another scandal. Man, I imagine that the university and the athletic department are embarrassed over the last few years of everything that's happened, and the fan base too. Because what is a proud football program and athletic department that they really work hard to put a good product on the field. You feel like this is just a blemish after what already was a massive blemish.
Yeah, no doubt. And like they can obviously pull a coach, an easy coach. But there's been probably 10 coaches change hands, 12 coaches change hands already this year that are off the board. Most of the group of 5 coaches are gone. You know, yeah, majority of the Group 5 coach, you got to go to the ACC. Obviously, you're not going to go to the SEC. Odds are you go to a smaller Big 10 school, smaller Big 12 school, but it's just most of those coaches are set, and you got to go hire a offense coordinator or something like that, or stick with the current one you got because it's a bad time to have this firing and go and coach search and be ready for the transfer portal next month. And so it's just a lot of crazy things that's happening, and it'll be interesting to see what Michigan does. But like you said, Michigan's a top tier program, and I think they will be able to turn it around. Obviously, with all the money that they have, but I think they'll be able to turn around. It's just going to take the right coach and the right NIL situation. But granted, whatever coach comes into this situation is going to have a difficult job, and I think they'll have their work cut out for them day one when they get there. Because I don't know if the commits will leave or a bunch of players will probably leave, and so it's just brand new team next year. And transfer portal opens up in a month, less than a month, and you have to find these guys quick, get your footing, and it'll be an interesting task for sure for the new coach once he comes in.
Man, and I hate to speculate, but a team that, well, never mind. I was going to say a team that had been playing really well and a coach that had kind of re-established himself was Greg Schiano, but that guy has kind of fallen back off. Man, I'm really interested to see maybe a guy like, and they're keeping their head coach currently, but maybe a guy like you know Brett Bielema at Illinois
Yeah.
uh, coming over, or a guy like PJ Fleck at Minnesota. Two really hungry head coaches at universities that uh, aren't really pushing themselves as far as NIL money goes, and two places that I think if they joined, if they went after those two head coaches, I think that the Michigan will be a place that they could succeed. I really think, honestly, for me, Brett Bielema makes me think he like that's the identity of Michigan football, in my opinion.
No,
The
no doubt. And he was at Wisconsin, went to Arkansas, and then obviously is now at Illinois. And he's created a great thing at Illinois. And, I could definitely see him going that direction. I mean, there's a bunch of things that would have to happen, right? They could hire the current OC. But if you're shopping around like that, I think you got to shop in the Big Ten because they know Big Ten football. An SEC coach going up to the Big Ten is pretty difficult to do. And obviously, no SEC coach down here. All of the bad ones basically are all the bad schools have just hired coaches. All the good schools, their coaches aren't leaving, and so it's obviously no SEC team's going to go up there. It's got to be Big 12, ACC, or a smaller Big 10, and it's just there's not that many options for great coaches for the Michigan job.
Right. Yeah, and Illinois, like I said, man, they went 8-4 on the year, 5-4 in conference. All their losses coming in the Big Ten, but they aren't able to spend what Michigan spends on their roster year over year. Regardless, guys, this is just speculation. But Michigan fans, I do want to say that we kind of feel for you.
Yeah,
Uh, you know, and I try not to show my bias, but being a Razorback fan, we've gone through it ourselves. But just it's going to get better. You guys are a premier university again in athletics, and you got an athletic department that cares about uh, your programs, and you got the money to flip your roster instantly, and you don't even really need that much change. Hopefully, your offensive coordinator there is going to be able to hold that roster down, and you guys will come out of this. Very quickly, I hate to jump straight into the coaching search mode, but it is possible. But
Yeah.
just keep your eyes peeled, and hopefully, y'all come out on the other side of this fairly unscathed.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who Michigan ends up hiring. Just in the end, it'll work out for Michigan fans, and they'll get the team that they want next year, and hopefully try to get back to beat Ohio State because that's basically their goal every year, right? So thank you guys for watching the American South podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe, and go follow our TikTok at the